Hello and greetings to everyone. My name is Pranjal Bhatt and I am going to take you through the course titled Academic Speaking and Presentation Skills. In this course of Academic Speaking and Presentation Skills, there are various different topics, modules, you can say it, that we are going to cover throughout. And in this session, the very first session, we are going to see and understand what are the foundations of advanced communication, right? When we talk about advanced communication, there are multiple things that we will have to see and go through. So therefore, the very first thing that we can see over here is need to understand the meaning and definition of advanced communication. We are also going to go through the basic difference between basic and advanced communication. We are also going to understand the communication trends that have happened throughout the ages, and with that communication trends, it is very much the need of an hour to understand the importance and usage of this advanced communication in our day-to-day and our everyday life. So hoping that we'll be able to cover all the points in this session of Foundation of Advanced Communication. Moving ahead, right, it is very much required to understand. If we are talking about the term advanced communication, breaking of the term, we first find out that it is communication at the higher, right, at the advanced level. So when we talk about at the higher level or the advanced level, we need to understand what is the ground, what is the base, right? And in the base, what is the communication process? So it's basically we having the data, right? But with that data, what are we going to do? How are we going to pass it? If it would be a simple communication process, the basic foundation of communication states that we must have an individual, whoever is trying to communicate something to somebody else, must have a data, a piece of information. It could be anything. It could be a feeling. It could be a some information on internet and numerical statistics or something like that. Whatever you have, you now are going to use all of it to put it into your own words or your own language with your own tonality. You are going to mold it, encode it, and that encoding you are going to choose two different things. It is one the medium and the other a mode, right? Mode and medium is basically you choosing whether it could be delivered into one-on-one, whether it would be delivered through a machine or a technology or maybe what not, right? So there is the mode and the medium. We choose all of it, and then now it passes to another level, that is the receiver's end, right? Receiver will try to decode all of it that is being received, cancelling the noise, what are the barriers that are coming, right? And with that, the individual will give the feedback. So this is basically an exchange, a simple pass of the communication process. It is always continuous in nature. We must understand that, and it is always bidirectional in form. So this is about basic communication. If we know what is basic communication, it is equally important that from this base we move to the higher levels. Now it is not going to be a simple passing of a message, right? It could be various other things, especially when you are associated to an organization, an institute or something, somewhere you are trying to build relation. So therefore, when we talk about advanced communication, it is going to be much more than what is simple basic communication process. Advanced communication is going to be a step ahead of encoding and decoding, as you can see on the screen, right? It is encoding and decoding of a message, but it could be at various different levels. It could be one-on-one, the participants could be two or more, right? It could also be delivered and understood in association to something else, right? Always it is associated to something. And what is it associated to? It is associated to personal benefits of gaining something, right? A communication is done not only of a simple passage. A communication is done for gaining something. An individual is trying to want something. There is a desired goal, right? If I'm going to try and whine in front of my parents about how many different things are consuming a lot of money. What you're trying to gain over here by that simple communication is that you, whatever the pocket money that you are getting is not enough, and you might want some more money, but there is a difference of way of saying it, right? So therefore there's a personal benefit. You are trying to want something, and at the same point of time your parents are arguing at the other end saying that yes, we also know that everything is becoming more expensive nowadays, but at the same point of time we need to learn management, and they are point of over explaining you this thing is basically that you try to learn management, or maybe you try to learn difference between spending and difference between just going through the expenses. So therefore there is a personal benefit at the each end when the communication is happening. The communication, when we talk about advanced communication, the purpose is different, and you need to understand the purpose, right? The desired goal. There is always a want of something, and whatever the want could be of building a relation, the want could be of also erasing a conflict into something, right? If because it is always in association, as we said, that advanced communication always has to take the base of something and then it goes to advance. So there could be a conflict that you're trying to resolve, right? News reporter trying to get information of the war happening in Israel or Gaza could be a good example of it, right? Is trying to get information, at the same point of time is trying to go or maneuver over some message that can come out of this particular war situation. It could also not just always erasing a conflict, or not just always building a relation. It could also be to persuade someone else to do what. So the example of you asking money from your parents and your parents explaining you back and forth about the management could be basically also persuading who wins the race, right? That is basically learning the advanced communication, the effectiveness of going through the communication process and gaining what you want, right? It is not just passing of the message, but you win the battle of communication and you get whatever you want. That is basically the advanced communication. So then we have Lanier Dells, who tells that it is advanced communication skills. It cannot come overnight. You will have to develop that skill, that ability to effectively communicate beyond basic passage of message, right? That ability we can develop where an individual learns to articulate the idea with clarity, purpose, and efficiency, right? So therefore advanced communication is way beyond basic communication. So therefore a simple difference that you can create of basic communication and advanced communication could be delivering of a message, right? Delivering of a message could be simply from one end to the other. At the same point of time, you need to also understand that in advanced communication it is not just the message that is delivered, but also the intentions that are delivered, right? So therefore one needs to understand, to enhance the effectiveness, to get what you want, you need to be clear with the intentions that you need to pass ahead, right? The decoding of the message also, if it comes from the receiver's end, the decoding of this basic communication message could be very simple. At the same point of time, it could be a complex decoding in the advanced communication. So if I want to give you an example of how decoding is, right, let's take the sentence, wait and watch, you will get what you want. Now the tonality that I'm speaking with over here is basically a motivational tone, right? You will have to have patience and you will have to watch until you get whatever you desired for. You will have to work with determination over here. And at the same point of time, the same sentence, if I want to say it in another way, right? Wait and watch, you will get what you want. So over here, that or the huff itself, right, says that you will not get what you want, right? It is completely opposite of what I have said. So it is kind of sarcasm, it is kind of a warning that I have levied onto whoever is listening this particular statement. So therefore, it is not to get confused. You might think that how could be intended different from the asserted, right? Could vary, right? How could it be different? So in the same way, the sentence is one and the same, the words are one and the same, the combination in which it is used, it is one and the same, but however, there is intention that is transferred, and therefore the decoding becomes more complex over here. Okay, when we talk about basic communication, there could be a reference, frame of reference, or it could not be. But when it comes to advanced communication, there is always a frame of reference. So you have been told to, do certain things and then you are responding in as an answer to it, or there could not be a told task, there could be a responsibility, there could be whatever the person is trying to communicate with a purpose wherein all of them are associated with a particular goal point, right? So therefore there is a frame of reference that is used. It is not always in the air, it is not always a starting, it is always in connection to one another. And this basic communication that we choose is in our day-to-day life, whereas advanced communication that we choose is basically at the level of organizations or institutes or companies that we work on, right? And therefore the basic communication will also have less noise compared to AC. AC over here is advanced communication, right? And we face more challenges and barrier when it comes to advanced communication. How do we face the challenges and barriers? The more you will know and will go through the content, you will get to know that there are various different hurdles that we need to cross. It is not just coming out the barriers that one individual has, but knowing how the system works and getting into the system to get what you want is a different thing altogether. And therefore knowing and learning advanced communication becomes important, right? We now move to the point of development in communication trends, from cave hoarding to paintings, and then we have petroglyphs, right? All of this are basically examples. The pictures that you see on the right hand side, right, is basically the examples of what has happened, be it the oral communication, be it the written communication. It has always evolved over the period of time. So there was just hooting and cuckoo and kaka kind of a noise that was there, and there was just kind of a symbols that people used to communicate from cave times, right? And then people have started using certain symbols in association to send a larger meaning, and that was somewhere or the other written on leaves, printed on paper, making a basic ink, right? So communication was actually a struggle into the ancient communication age, right? But however, it is very important to know, it is crucial to know that communication has evolved over the period of time, and if we want to know the evolvement, it is equally necessary to go into the past to see how it has developed. So therefore this was ancient communication. In modern communication, right, we have seen that there was printers, right, that were available. The printing press was available. The example that you could see on the right, printing press is basically giving you one side talk, right? It is a written message that is received by the reader or the audience, and then communication takes place. So while we are talking about written messages, we have already known that the language has been discovered. A language now has to be into different zones then, right, altogether. So therefore from regional to national, what are the different language varieties, how they have been working in different dialects. If it is an oral communication, it would work in the form of dialects. If it is in the written communication, it would work in the form of tonality. So it could be very different in the modern age. And therefore again over here we see a good example of telephonic communication, where it could be oral message itself, but again it is two-way, right? Another person would be responding in return, but at the same point of time when we see the fax or the radio machine that you see on the screen, is basically it is going to be a one-way message. A fax would send a one-way message, a written message, and radio would send a one-way oral message. So now the language will vary over here as well, right? So there has been continuous evolvement over period of time. Now with both the messages, right, you need to understand that in modern times that was wired electromagnetic communication, that waves that pass through, but over here in contemporary trends it is a wireless communication. You communicate via internet, and we know about one thing about internet is that everything that we communicate via internet, there is a digital footprint that will always remain there on the internet, whether we are there or not, whether we will exist tomorrow or not, right? With no certainty, when it is about internet, it could also remain forever, right? And again, it is going to be a complex network. Now, if we are going to communicate via internet, we use internet, but we communicate via different modes. So from mail to social media, we have transformed using technology. We have transformed using the social media application. Initially, when it started only for social purposes. Now we have involved the social media application into our professional purposes and uses as well. So it has to be very important. How do you use LinkedIn? How do you use your Instagram? How do you use your WhatsApp? There are going to be your official WhatsApp groups of the organization that you're going to work for over the period of time. So using the language to communicate, to chat with your friends on WhatsApp, and to chat again into the WhatsApp group, right, is going to be different. So that is how this complex network will go through different formal and informal network flow of communication. So these are the development and trends, right? Contemporary is basically today's, as what is today's time communication trend. And in today's time communication trend, you need to very importantly note certain flow of network, learning formal flow of network. The very first over here is upward flow of communication. Upward flow of communication is basically, bottom to top communication that happens in an organization or in an institute. So at the lowest level, you will have over here the employees or the workers, and moving one step ahead, you will go to the supervisor, you will go to the departmental head, you will go to the general manager, then you will have another assistant to general manager, and then you will have managerial director. So then at the employee level to the employer level, right? This down to, that is bottom to top reference, is upward flow of communication. Now the language will change when depending on who you are communicating to. So that is lower level to the higher authority or the apex, right? Communication happens over here in form of notes, letters, right? Task updates, reports, all of these are the form of communication that happens. Then we have downward flow of communication. Downward flow of communication starts with product manager to the worker, right? Again, it is not just this is just an example, right? Any institute, if you would see, institute will also have a provost will talk to, to the lower level. So there would be deans, and then after the deans there would be principals, and principals to the other level, and various other organizational flow. So this is just an example. If we are talking about organizations such as companies, would have product manager, assistant manager, supervisor, and then the worker or the employee. Over here to here, what kind of messages would be passed? There could be orders, that could be notice, there could be commands, there could be task allocation duties, and various other things. So this is from top to bottom flow of communication that we use. Again, there would be at the same level. So agar, if it is from top to bottom or bottom to top, that is downwards and upwards flow of communication, you also need to understand that there is a horizontal or the lateral flow happening at the same level, right? What could happen at the same level? So all the HODs getting together and then giving the task undersigned, right? All the maybe principals doing a meeting. Over here on the screens you would see all the managers, different, be it marketing manager, finance manager, operational manager, all the managers coming together and then creating a kind of a work or a meeting. And then it's not just about the meeting, taking decisions at that level, at the same level, communicating at the same level is very much important. So only if it would be top to bottom or bottom to top, there would be a very strict supervisions, and then it would leave no option to have the clarity or various other works that are lead, aid, assistance, help from the same level. It would be difficult. So therefore there is also a lateral flow of communication. Any organization or the company you would see would have both, would have lateral communication as well as the top down and the down to top, that is upward and downward flow of communication. But at the same point of time, now when we talk about contemporary trends, it is also important to know the diagonal flow of communication. So it could be at the various ends. Over here again, if we put operational manager at the very first position, then that first position is also talking to the lowest position, sales manager. Now sales manager has nothing to do with the operational manager. Operational manager is working at the highest this level, but yet it would be talking to the sales manager at the bottom, and then again sales manager also communicating to the IT manager, right? Again, IT person is trying to work out everything, connecting to whosoever the client is, let us assume, right? So then this is called as diagonal flow of communication, cutting across. You are not thinking about the hierarchy, you are not thinking about the levels, but you are rather thinking about the work, and you are cutting across everything to do the work efficiently as and how it is required. So therefore, diagonal flow of communication is much appreciated in today's time in any organization. So you do not be afraid of going to the higher authority when there is a need. Even you are not, keeping just the limitations to your own level, but you can go to the down level to get the reports and everything else, minute of data, know even the grievances of whatever and whoever is going through, right? So that is also very much important. At the same point of time, knowing all of this, right? Why is it important to know what is, horizontal, lateral, upward, or downwards flow of communication? Because you will have to choose. Now we know there is communication process that is happening. We know that advanced communication is basically, trying to share your intentions. You don't want to go to work, right? You cannot simply call the director and say that, I don't want to come to work. There has to be a proper way. So even if you are appointed, you be given a particular hierarchy through which you are going to work, and even if it is basically knowing that you are going to resign, you will have to go through a particular hierarchy. But at the same point of time, when it is about efficiency of the work, you will have to choose out of this which you want. So therefore, again, going back to the first thing of advanced communication, there will be a personal benefit. You will get whatever the purpose is. If it is about building a relation, it is about erasing a conflict, even if it is about, persuading someone to do what you want in a particular workplace. And I believe that is the most difficult thing. But if you completely gain command or gain the ability, develop the skill of advanced communication, you can use this into your routine task to streamline workflow. And that is what it is written over here, right? Importance and use of advanced communication is in our day-to-day routine life, streamline workflow, also reduce the time to complete a particular task that is there. Advanced communication tool facilitates the collaboration across different departments and levels, right? It will build the relations across your own level, across different departments, and it will encourage a positive approach of problem solving, right? It helps to remote work also well and efficiently. If you learn the technicalities, if you learn the different way and modes of communication, you can work remotely from wherever you are. So with this technology and integration of technology, learning advanced communication will help you to surpass the hurdles that are there. Using Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and various other external communication means, one can be good at marketing, right? One can get customers engagement, and there could be various other things. This is just basically from the management tools, but you can know and you can use it everything into your own power. So therefore, it is very much necessary to learn the importance of advanced communication, and also learn the necessity and the skills to develop the advanced communication. So that is how everything goes one-on-one. I would just like to summarize everything that we have learned in today's session. That is, advanced communication involves not only encoding and decoding, but it is helping to build relation, resolve conflicts, persuade, gain much benefit personally. Also, when it comes to the difference between basic and advanced communication, you need to know that it is not just the straightforward way of passing the message. There are strategies that you will have to use. You will have to use the correct mode, and you will have to choose the correct intentions. You will have to choose the correct tonality. So there are various interventions of multiple things at a time and instantly when you want to use it. So all of that will come into advanced communication. So know the difference and act accordingly, right? To command advanced communication at a workplace, one must be adaptive in using, which flow of communication to be used. Every flow, whenever it is upward, downward, lateral, or diagonal, you need to know which flow of communication to use when, according to the purpose. So if I want to, want something to be done in my classroom, I would rather use, the downward flow of communication. It would be direct orders that this is what you're supposed to do. But at the same point of time, if I want, a feedback from students, I must understand I cannot give orders. You will have to tell me what, and how a particular session has been done or whatsoever it is, right? You will have to give them that space, that time. So therefore, over here, it has to be diagonal flow of communication, or maybe even I have to move down to their same level. I need to say that I am also a student learning, right? And eventually building up that connection, I will use the lateral flow of communication. So you have to be very, very quick, very sharp, using all of this flow of communication into your formal workplace, and therefore getting command of advanced communication. So these were the basic foundations of advanced communication, and hope that they were clear. Right? Thank you so much for having patience and going through the content of the subject. Right? We'll meet with a different topic on the same subject of academic speaking and presentation skills. Thank you, everyone.